going to switch gears for a moment and talk about hurricane season. It started earlier this month and we've got a long way to go before it ends on November 30th. Listen, you don't want to wait until a storm is upon us to prepare for an evacuation, especially if medical issues might complicate your plans. So today, Kristen Sunde with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana is here to share some good advice to help us all prepare in advance. Kristen, welcome!
Thank you. Good to be here with you, Malik.
Great to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on to talk about this. Look, I believe if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So when people are thinking about how to plan in advance, what are some things we should think about when it comes to hurricane season?
Well, like you said, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
Yes.
So it's very important to start thinking now at the beginning of hurricane season about what you would do if there's a storm headed for your area. Hurricanes are an unfortunate part of life around here, and while we hope for the best, we need to prepare for any situation. So start thinking in advance about some things that you would need to have on hand, either if you evacuate or maybe you live in a place that's not as prone to flooding or wind damage and you're going to be that evacuation point for other friends or loved ones. What do you need to stock up on? How much water do you have to have handy and for how many people? And animals, don't forget your pets. You need to have pet food and pet water available too.
I completely agree with that. Also, I really love how you all promote to have a decision point ready. I never thought about this before. What does that mean?
So that means start thinking now about some decision points that would trigger you to either evacuate or stock up to shelter in place. And the reason we talk about this so much is it's particularly important if maybe you're older and have more health issues, mobility challenges, you lack transportation, anything that would make it a little bit harder and you need a little more time to either evacuate or be prepared to shelter in place. So an example of a decision point would be you and your family could sit down and say, okay, if a storm is Category 3 or higher and it's forced to make a direct hit within 50 miles of where we live, we will evacuate if that is the situation. Or if it's a Category 1 or 2, we're going to stay in place, but we realize we could lose power for up to a week. So we need to make sure to stock up and go shopping in advance and have supplies.
It's so true. And you know, of course, always look to your local weather experts, all of our great meteorologists here. And you know, we've got you all covered here on WWL Louisiana if something happens, because really, unfortunately, it gets pretty bad during like August and October. But again, it can happen at any point. But when it comes to the medical side, right? What do we need to think about in advance? Because a lot of times we don't think about that part of evacuation.
That's right, and it's definitely your health plans should be something considered as part of your overall disaster preparedness planning. So first thing, know where that health plan ID card is at all times. The physical card, but Blue Cross and most insurance plans these days will let you get a digital copy of the card. Go ahead and download that now, put it in your phone digital wallet so you have it if you need it. If that's not an option, you can also take a picture of it to save on your phone so you have a digital copy. But if you need to leave home, make sure you take that with you, either digital, physical, or both, because if you end up in a situation where you need to get care, need to get a prescription filled, what's the first thing you get asked for when you go in for a healthcare service? You got to present that medical ID card. So always have your health plan card with you. And we also encourage people, make a list of your family's health information. Make a list, all the doctors you regularly see for care, your primary care doctor, your child's pediatrician, anything like that. Just write down their names, write down the phone numbers for their office. It's also a really good idea to write down any medications anybody in your family takes on a regular basis and the dosages. A lot of times the pharmacy can give you a printout of that information if you want to ask for one to keep it handy, but keep that with you as well, because again, if you end up in a situation where either your regular doctor's office is closed because of power outages or you evacuated and need to go get care in an unfamiliar place, it'll be real handy to have that information and be able to share it. So consider it as part of your planning.
Absolutely. And on top of that, medications, if you feel like you're gonna have to evacuate, you can get what, like a 90-day supply?
Yes. So most health plans will allow you to get a 90-day fill when you go in to get your prescriptions filled, especially if it's for medication that you take every day. So people who have long-term conditions like diabetes or high blood pressure, those kind of medications you can typically ask to get a 90-day supply. And that's a good idea, especially during hurricane season, because again, if your pharmacy is out of power and closed for an extended time, or if you need to pack up and leave, then you're not worried about scrambling to find your medication. You have all the dosages, and that's important because missing even 1 or 2 doses, if you do have conditions like that, can really make a big difference with your health. So prepare.
Absolutely. Listen, shout out to all the caregivers out there. You all are doing the best you can right now, and hopefully with all this great information, you are ready for whatever comes our way. Kristen, thank you so much for being here. And listen, if you want more information about preparing for hurricane season, including Blue Care, which is Blue Cross Blue Shield Louisiana's telehealth service, log on to bcbsla.com and follow them on social media.